Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Everything on my screen says I'm offline, but it looks like I'm online, so I'll keep going. Hey, Robin, please go ahead, if you will, and retweet everything as we get started here. Boy, how weird is that? Can't see a thing that's on. So bizarre, bizarre. Okay. Good thing I didn't start over. That would have been bad. Okay, everybody. Remember, today is God's views on political news. That will be coming on. Hey, Judy, that will be coming on at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern. Hey, from Medical Management in Indiana here. How are you? Janice, good to see you. From Indiana, how's the weather in Indiana? Hopefully, it's very good for you there. All right. And then also, if you know a child that you just want to give a great Christmas, Hanukkah, I love you, happy birthday present to, please consider my book for children ages about, oh, I don't know, 2 to 11. And that is My Ears Are Not Like Yours. My Ears Are Not Like Yours. And it's available at Amazon.com. Please go there today and get it. Robin said it's 18 inches here and 3 inches of snow on the ground. Oh, 18 degrees, sorry, and 3 inches of snow on the ground. I was going to say that's a lot of snow there. Wow, it's supposed to get colder, so that should be exciting. Howdy from Dallas Public Ed. Patriot, how are you? We are trying for some cool weather in eastern North Carolina. Oh, I think you're going to get it. Just saying. So, anyway, good morning, everybody. How are you? Let me start off, and we have a lot of breaking news that I want to talk to you about. But first, let me go ahead and let me get this off the screen. Go ahead and read to you Psalm 91, a little bit of that, and then we'll get started. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him I will trust. Surely He will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. Amen. Hey, Jules, good to see you. All right, so let's get into the breaking news that I have. First of all, just a brief one is Mulvaney is dropping his plans to file a lawsuit. He was subpoenaed for his deposition. He was going to file his own lawsuit. He decided that he's not going to do that, that he's just going to obey the direction of the president, which the president is saying ignore the subpoena. So I think that's good. Hey, Miss Andrew Vaughn, good to see you. And so they'll just go on from there. So that's that breaking news. Now we have some other kind of more serious breaking news that woke me up at 2 o'clock in the morning with things going off. It was pretty amazing. And we're talking about Israel. And they're saying we just targeted Islamic Jihad commander in Gaza, Baha Abu al-Atta. Al-Atta was directly responsible for hundreds of terror attacks against Israeli civilians and soldiers. His next attack was imminent. Hashtag Jihad enough. And you can see the face that is circled. Hey, Alan, that is Al-Atta, that the person that they killed. Hey, Doris Harris, how are you? Deborah Morales, how are you? Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Kim. Beth, thank you for you two for sharing this with us every week. I look forward to listening to your show. Thank you, Beth. Yeah, we're going to be on at 11. Hopefully, Bill will be there because there's snow in Tennessee, but I haven't heard otherwise that he's not going to be there. Hey, Karen, good morning. Tim, good morning. It's 60 degrees in South Carolina. I'm wearing shorts right now in California. So, but we won't talk about that. So, we won't make people unhappy with the fact that we're wearing shorts and the weather is so nice. It's supposed to be probably in the high 70s, low 80s. Another jihadist bites the dust. Medical management said, yes, absolutely. Now, suffices to say, the people in Palestine did not like that. But the Israeli Defense Force says it targeted and killed a notorious Palestinian terrorist, Palestinian Islamic Jihad commander that I just told you his name. In retaliation for his death, Palestinian terrorists in Gaza quickly and indiscriminately started launching rockets into Israeli cities. Now, let me see if we. This is one that I found. This is pretty interesting. Let me see if it. Watch what happens in this video. Cars are going along, and there they drop a bomb right there. The rockets that were coming in. So they're pretty serious in Palestine, getting back at Israel. Now, this didn't go over well. Netanyahu said that the IDF forces swiftly deployed fighter jets to target Palestinians launching rockets. Terrorists think they can hit civilians and hide behind civilians. We showed that we can hit the terrorists with minimal damage to civilians. Anyone who thinks they can hit our civilians and get away with it is wrong. If you hit us, we will hit you. That came from Benjamin Netanyahu. Then he told that to his security cabinet on Tuesday. And remember, they're a lot like us right now in Israel, in that they don't have a government intact. While we have a government intact, we have those on the left who are trying to take that government down, really. I mean, if to put it in frank terms, that's what they have. Now, here's what happened as a result. That were 9 hours of incessant rocket fire from Gaza targeting Israeli civilians. Israel stands strong in face of this terrorism and will continue to do all that is necessary to defend its citizens. So 9 hours, 150 plus rockets fired, 60 rockets intercepted, 40 people injured. So, that's really sad that that's happening right now. And I'm not surprised that it's happening. And I don't think anybody's really surprised that it's happening, because of the fact that, again, you have a government that's kind of sitting there. Iran knows that it's an unstable situation. It's chaotic. And Iran also wants to create chaos because they're trying to bring back the what do they call it? The Mahdi. And they feel that in order to do that, you have to have a lot of chaos. And so I don't know how close we're getting to Ezekiel 38 and 39. We're getting closer and closer every single day that we see something like this happening. Let me read some of that. Hey, Lee, good to see you. Jonathan Porter, good morning. Praying for Israel, Robin said. Absolutely. I wish I could wear sweatpants. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Lord, for the Iron Dome. Yeah, praying for Israel. Signs of the times. And remember the what was it? The David sling, or the sling of David, or whatever. Remember, Russia has a hold of that, and that is pretty important because, that's one of the most powerful weapons that Israel has, and Russia has it. Took it and now looking at it and trying, probably, already trying to duplicate that. So there's a lot going to be happening in Israel. Now, some other breaking news. The Supreme Court this morning is saying that they're going to allow the Sandy Hook families to move forward in Connecticut in their lawsuit against Remington. And basically what that is, there was an AR-15 that was used in a 2012 massacre there in Sandy Hook. And what the plaintiffs are saying, the parents are saying, that Remington should never have sold a weapon such as the AR-15. It was that powerful to the public. And so the Supreme Court is saying, we're going to allow this case to move forward. We're not going to hear the case. It's now going to go back to Connecticut. Not good news for the gun manufacturer of Remington. Hey, Gillian, shalom. How are you? Good to see you. And for everybody coming in a little bit later, remember that God's Views will be on today at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. So make sure that you're there to watch that as well. I know I do this show in the morning in God's Views as well on that page, but we will have the show today. And hopefully Bill will be there, and he won't be snowed out. So that would be horrible if he was. So we're banking on him being there. Now, let me see some other news that came up. Let me find this for you. This young lady right here is Elijah Cummings' widow. And it wasn't legal to do so, Carol said, and no one reads a cigarette packet either. What are we talking about? I guess that was a conversation going on that I wasn't seeing. So this is Maya Rockymore Cummings. She said, I am, of course, devastated at the loss of my spouse, but his spirit is with me. She's 48, said in an interview with the Baltimore Sun, I'm going to run this race and I'm going to run it hard as if he's still right here by my side. In other words, she is going to run for his vacant seat. So that will be very interesting. She's a public policy consultant who's the founder of the Washington consulting firm Global Policy Solutions LLC and a former 2018 candidate for governor. She said her husband told her months before he died he would like for her to succeed him. Nothing that we'll ever know for sure because he's not here to give his opinion. Let's see what anybody else is saying. It wasn't a big snow event. It's really cold and windy. Oh, good, Charlene. Good. Oh no, hey Molly. Yeah, so this the widow and that has happened before for another others who are widowed and are Democrats especially. She said that she one of the things that I think is interesting about her, she is going to go in to the hospital on Friday and she is going to have a preventative double mastectomy and she should be out, she thinks, for about 2 weeks and won't be able to run her campaign during that time. But I guess her mother died of breast cancer. Her sister got breast cancer, and I guess they have the gene. So she's not going to take any chances, and she's going to go and have that double mastectomy, just like Angelina Jolie did. Let's pray a sealed indictment for the widow. Medical management. Yes, she is. There's been an amended complaint on a complaint against her. The National Legal and Policy Center's complaint is an amendment to its original May 20th complaint against Maya Rockymore Cummings charity, the Center for Global Policy Solutions, which alleged that the nonprofit's overlapping relationship with her for her for-profit company could have derived an illegal private benefit for her. For example, they say that she was earning a salary of about $152,000 a year from her charity in 2015, according to the 990 tax form. Also, in 2015, her charity paid her a consulting firm paid her consulting firm 78,000. So it's kind of like double dipping. Yeah, it sounds suspicious. It's a little bit odd. You have to admit. So yeah, I know. We'll see what happens with her. Nothing happened to the Clinton Foundation, and my gosh, if you wanted an example of what was a horrible example of how you should run a foundation, well, you only have to look at the Clinton Foundation. It doesn't matter if Dens do anything illegal. Robin, it absolutely typically does not. So she probably will be fine. She'll run for his seat. She'll probably win it. I mean, if things keep going the way it is, she needs to cover up the corruption. Well, Molly, I think she's probably been doing that for a while, if you believe, what the complaint says. So we'll see. Hey, Chezzy. I think I said hey Lee and hey Chezzy both, but I'm not sure. So many people come in at one time, and I'm trying to look at everything. Now, Lindsey Graham over the weekend was talking about the impeachment hearings that are coming up starting tomorrow, the circus. And he said without the whistleblower testimony and Hunter Biden coming in to testify, then he feels that the whole impeachment inquiry is going to be dead on arrival at the Senate. In the Senate, Clinton cartel will go down in flames. Medical management said, "Let's hope so." Medical management, let's hope so. Good morning, Barbara. So he said as you know, that the whistleblower worked for Biden, and he also, it seems, that worked for Brennan. So if you're not going to bring those all in, it's just a farce. And as we're looking at everything, so far, the Republicans, they had until Saturday to say who they wanted to bring in as a witness. And they did that, and it looks like everything is going to be denied. I don't trust Lindsey at all, Judy said. Lindsey needs to stop them now, Molly said. Yeah, he's all talk, though, Molly. He doesn't really do anything. Time for God's people to stop this corruption now. Jonathan, I totally agree with you. And the only way to do that, one of the only ways, is to pray. And I don't know that we're all doing that. Good morning, Susan. Great to see you. Great to see you, Monique. Liz said Dems don't learn. They did in Bolivia this past week. Yeah. Yep. And they took that guy, Morales, I believe his name, was a leader of Bolivia. He's now has asylum in Mexico, which is kind of, I don't know. I think Mexico is going to regret that decision to bring him on into Mexico, but we'll see. All right. So President Trump yesterday started tweeting about the upcoming farce. And that's what it is. It's an upcoming farce. It's nothing legitimate or real about this. He said, "Where's the whistleblower who gave so much false information? Must testify along with Schiff and others." Yes. Said, and the one down below, I don't know, let's see. The whistleblower info has been corroborated by the White House's own memo of the call by the chief of staff and the top Ukraine advisor. Well, it still doesn't matter. Morton over by. Because what matters is, and you may not want to hear this, but if one day you happen to be a defendant, you will want to be able to confront your own witnesses and ask them questions. Everybody in America does that. That this is what America is about. It's called justice, which we used to have, and justice for all, not just for one side. So right now, the way this whole impeachment proceeding is set up, there's no justice at all. It is one-sided. What's his face Schiff runs it all. It is a farce, but do you think liberals can see that? Some can, Monique, not a lot. I'm praying, Miss Susan. Thank you, Molly. It's not a hearing. This is as stupid as Alex Jones' conspiracy theory, Barbara said. It's worse than that. You know what? I mean, I think at least with Alex Jones' conspiracy theory, there may be, just that much of truth. I don't think there's any truth into Adam Schiff's impeachment inquiry. The Dems are trying to replicate WikiLeaks from 2016, drip, drip, drip. Judy said, if Dems don't comply with witnesses, then DOA and Senate. And see, they don't care. They don't care. All they want to do is have on record that they have impeached this president going into the 2020 elections. They want to be able, and every time there's a debate, is talk about he was impeached. This is going to be their next talking point. That's all they want to do. And I just wish there was something that the Republicans would do so that this could not take place in the House. Morning from Indiana. My hometown is Imperial, California. I swear the earthquake swarm is all underneath Imperial. Have you felt any? Patsy, yes. That first one, especially, that huge one that went on about 30 seconds, whatever, it shook my whole house. And the house was just, everything was shaking. Barbara said, that's why this is a silly distraction. Will never go more than 20 minutes in the Senate. Chicago Pop said, Schaefer said he will cut off any questions about who his whistleblower is or who he talked to. Gillian said, why can't it be run by an independent body? Because that's not how it's done. See, Gillian, they a long time ago, when people could be halfway sane and people could be trusted in Congress to do their jobs, they didn't need that. They didn't need an independent coming in, independent body. But because I'm just going to be honest with you, because there is so much corruption, because America is not the America that we used to know, and is moving towards progressivism and communism totally. That's why this is going the way it is. That's why it is. True should not insult Alex, Barbara said. I'm going to have, today I hope everybody can come to God's Views on Political News, because I've got a lot to say about some things that I'm not sure how many people are aware of this, but I'm certainly going to try to lay it all out for you today. Why do we allow this nonsense to continue, Jonathan said. Jonathan, in some respects, it feels like we're outnumbered. I don't think we are, but we feel that way. We have a party that is reactive and not proactive. We have a party right now that should be going after Adam Schiff, with everything they have. They should be going after Nancy Pelosi. They should be going after all of those people and the FISA abuse and all those people. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But we've always said, oh, let's just go on. Let's just move ahead. Let's just not think about it. And this is where we've come to, because we haven't gone after them. They this whole time have been coming after us. Judy said, we are no longer a republic. Barbara said it's a hearing only. Yeah, well, it's an inquiry, whatever. Judy said exactly. So, I mean, we are in a lot of trouble. We really are. The way that this country is run, and don't forget that there are some people on the Republican side who are not for this president. They would be just as happy if he were impeached and left and whatever. They wouldn't care. They could go back to business as usual. Those are the rhinos. Those are people like Mitt Romney. Those are people like, on and on and on. I won't name. They are all friends. Yuri said sometimes. Good morning and thanks for updating us, sweetie. You're welcome, Edna. Thank you. And I hope you can be there at God's Views today at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Well, are you calling everyone to voice your thoughts and pray? Well, are you all calling everyone to voice your thoughts and pray? Barbara wanted to know. Trump 2020, Webster said, yep. We have corruption in the Republican Party as well. We do. We do, Judy. GOP is doing nothing. The GOP is doing some things. They're trying to, as of last night anyway, when Nunez was talking, they're not getting to call anybody on their witness list. I mean, the president's attorney can't be there. They really can only ask questions on who Adam Schiff says they can ask questions to. This is a farce. The only person that can beat Trump is Trump himself. Yeah, and Trump's not going to beat himself. So Trump does this the right way, and that's what they don't like. So anyway, now they said this morning that the Democrats are changing from quid pro quo, because a lot of people go, quid pro quo, I don't know what that means. Well, they're going to change the wording a bit, because they do that at the Saul Alinsky Rules for Radicals book. They change the wording. It means the same thing, but they just, they make it new and advanced wording so everybody can understand and can get on board with it. And that is, they're going from quid pro quo over to extortion and bribery. So you'll start to hear that. Still haven't been able to figure out what they're trying to impeach President Trump over. The fact that he is a populist nationalist, Chezzy, that's what they're doing. Chicago Pop said, we hear all this tough talk from Republican reps. The few do nothing to protect the president. Exactly, Chicago Pops. I will be having a mammogram and bone density test at 1:30, Barbara said. Well, we pray for you, Barbara, that everything is well. Webster said it's his presidency to lose. Well, and I don't want to sit here and say that, Webster, because the moment we sit back and go, oh, we got that all in the bag, I think a lot of people thought we had that all in the bag last time in 2018 when we lost the House. That's just it. Despite the huge rallies, I feel like there's more support and we're going to lose 2020, Monique said. I don't know that we're going to lose 2020, Monique. It's going to totally be up to God, but we have to do everything in our beings that morally and ethically and legally to make sure that that doesn't happen and that we win in 2020. This for that, quid pro quo. Yeah, Judy, I mean, people should know that, but they don't. But Biden forged and bribed. He gloated about it. Carol said, yeah, I have it on tape. I mean, video. Everybody has that video. And they're not even looking at it. It's like it doesn't even exist. Hey, John Lyles, the Republicans do not know fight, and Graham is a McCain yes man. True, Johnny. Kim said, if Dems get in control, Larry Nichols said, in 45 days, they will have control of all our bank accounts. Kim, again, I'm going to be talking about this a lot on God's Views on Political News today. I hope you come there and watch. I have a lot to say, a lot of things that I did research on and found out that I think are probably going to scare you, but there are things that you should know. I understand the Dems don't like Trump, but what reason can they legally impeach him? Chezzy, all they're going to say is the extortion and bribery. And their people are going to go along with it. Like you're assuming that the people that in the House, that the Democrats care about the law. See, that's where the assumption goes astray. They don't care about the law, Chezzy. They care about impeaching this president, and they will be as unethical and immoral and illegal as they need to be in order to make that happen. And I am sorry to say that about the Congress, but that's how I feel. Amen. Up to God, and people do not lose hope. Yes, Charlene, absolutely. This should be Biden's inquiry. It should be Hunter Biden and Joe Biden both brought in, Barbara. Absolutely. They don't play by the rules. Why should we time to fight fire with fire? Jonathan said. They don't play by the rules. And they're listen, Jonathan, here's the other thing. There are no rules. It's only the rules that Adam Schiff says are the rules. And listen, do you think that Adam Schiff is running this by himself? Nancy Pelosi is the queen of all of this. She knows how to play dirty, and she has done it most of her career. And that's what you're seeing right now. She's telling him what to do. And also, when they should call Schiff, they should call Biden, they should call Pelosi, because I guarantee you, when Adam Schiff knew about the whistleblower, he told Nancy Pelosi, and she knows. She knows. This is a complete lawlessness, and the Congress has no fear of God. Absolutely true, Chelsea. B. Wigington, Susan is on now. So B, hi, come on now. Got her voice. Okay, bye, Victoria. We'll see you, sweetheart. Biden was not and never will be the president political opponent. The Dems accused Trump of exactly what they do. Example, Biden's quid pro quo, Irish girl said. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Okay. So here's the Republican strategy. Where's Nancy? Well, Nancy's busy, Judy. You know, like when you're the queen of a kingdom and you're getting all these things done, then you're kind of busy. Why aren't the GOP stopping that? Molly, because many of them are rhinos, and they're right there along with the Democrats. So, you know, don't think that every Republican believes that this is bad. I'm sure that Mitt Romney he's loving this. Justin Amash, who left the Republican Party, is absolutely loving this. There are others that are absolutely loving it. All right. Now, the Republicans argue, they sent a memo, I guess, of what their strategy is going to be. Let them eat cake, Judy said, yeah. That the July 25th call between Trump and the Ukrainian President Zelensky shows no conditionality or evidence of pressure. Hey, B, how are you? Drawing out rhinos. Yep, medical management. According to the GOP House members, evidence supporting Trump also includes President Zelensky and Trump, who both said that they weren't aware of a hold on anything, you know. Well, I think Trump was. Zelensky wasn't aware that there was a hold on any of the funding that had been approved by Congress. They didn't talk about it. And also Zelensky didn't go and do anything. He didn't go and do any research or investigation on Biden, and they were paid the money before anything was done. They didn't look into anything. And I say, don't forget, we have this treaty. We have this treaty, and it really doesn't mean anything to a lot of people. They're not even talking about the treaty that we have with Ukraine that says we can ask them to go look into criminal corruption. We've had this treaty since like 1998. Swamp knows no party, Janice said. The prior administrations were shakedown artists. They shook down many countries, Irish girl said. My thinking is it's going to be a Warren and Mayor Pete Democratic ticket. Oh, Chicago Pop said, probably. Oh my gosh. Yuck. Now, they add that this is the Republicans, they add that the evidence gathered does not establish an impeachable offense. It doesn't. There's no high crimes and misdemeanors. And the evidence shows that President Trump had a deep-seated, genuine, and reasonable skepticism towards Ukraine and a vocal position that Europe should contribute more to regional defense. Now, I'm going to tell you why I absolutely agree with that. If I were somebody who, you know, wasn't a Republican, wasn't a conservative, didn't know Trump, I would have to look at the evidence, and I would have to, if I had any intelligence at all, I would have to say I agree with it. Now, let me tell you why. Let me take a sip of water, and I'll tell you who this person is. Hopefully everybody can hear me without yelling, because I'm having to like speak up and my voice is going. This is Laura Cooper. Laura Cooper is a Deputy Assistant Defense Secretary for Russia, Ukraine, and Eurasia. She is... she's the person that had her deposition released yesterday. Hey, Monica, I didn't see you come in. She's the first person from the Pentagon that testified, and she's the one that happened to be in there that day that Getz and everybody else came, you know, crashing through the basement door during the secret Schiff hearings. She was in there, and she was giving testimony, and everything had to be stopped for like 5 hours. So after she gave her testimony, here's what I learned from it. This woman basically said that well, first let me tell you, she's been in this position and other positions in the government in different administrations since 2001. She's an Obama holdover. She's also served under other presidents. So just to lay the groundwork, I guess there was in her Department of Defense, back in June. I think she said somewhere around June 18th or something like that. They were told in the Department of Defense, "Hey, Aussie Nick, that money would be given to Ukraine at the tune of like $250 million." So she gets on the phone, she calls Ukraine, calls the government, calls the embassy, and says, congratulations, Congress just approved $250 million. Now, I don't know that she should have done that, but that's what she did. And what happened after that is her boss, the chief of staff to the Secretary of Defense, sent an email out. And she got this email. And it said something on the order of, I have 3 questions. And it referenced the president. Now, but this email was not from President Trump. This email came from her boss. And it said, POTUS has 3 questions. I mean, it kind of gave you the impression it was from the president asking the questions, but it really didn't say these questions are from the president. But, and I got this information from reading her transcript. I read most of it. It was so long I couldn't read the rest of it, but it was a lot. Hey, Jules, good morning. Everybody, please, we're at the halfway point. If you don't mind sharing this, and then I'll move forward with what I was going to say. So invite your followers, and it's the halfway point. All right. Okay. So the 3 questions are, number 1, is the U.S. industry providing any equipment? Whoever wrote these questions, wherever they came from, wanted to know, are we using United States equipment? Or are we using Ukraine equipment? Pretty, logical thing to ask. And the question came back, we're using mostly U.S. companies. Sorry, I had to step away. No problem, Jules. Question number 2. They wanted to know what other countries were doing. They wanted to know, are other countries going to be sharing in the burden and the cost of all this? Or are these people supported in debating decisions the president makes? They were not elected. See, Liz, that's just it. All of these holdovers, because they see things one way and they want it one way, they question the president on everything, because that's not how Obama did it. That's not how George Bush did it. That's not how somebody else did it. It doesn't matter, but it does to these people. And you will find out by listening to them and researching, they really think that everything, because it's been done a certain way for so long, when it's not done a certain way that they're used to, then they find it unusual. They find it odd. They find it, maybe it's against protocol. Maybe it's suspicious and it's against, the United States policy, all this kind of stuff. And when you read their transcripts, you will see that. Now, they, when they asked, who else was sharing the burden, they came back and they said the UK, Canada, Lithuania, Poland, and the US are sharing the burden, pulling out traitors in deep state. Yeah, I know, medical management, exactly. Question number 3, who gave this money? Who gave this funding? Now, here, exactly, you fit, Susan. Thanks, Jules. Here's what I find is interesting. If this email that they're saying that she's saying came from her boss, that references the president, why would the president not know where the funding came from? Why would the president not know that Congress had done this? And I don't know the answer to that. Either this wasn't from the president, or the president didn't know what Congress was doing. Time for God's people to pray with one accord and do battle for us first. We must repent of our sins and let him take care of the problems we are in, Jonathan said. What they see is they are caught, Barbara said. I'll have to tell you too, this woman didn't seem to be as aggressively against the president as I thought she would be. She answered the questions, again, on her opinions, her beliefs. And that doesn't matter. You go to a court of law and your hearsay and your how you feel about something isn't going to matter. But there is no law in this whole thing. So anyway, she said that there was they received she had sent a question in about like who wrote this or whatever, and these questions and everything get answered, and supposedly she thought they were answered by the end of June. She learned about mid-July that the funds were going to be held. Now that would make sense if you're asking questions in June, late June, and somehow these questions were being routed around and somebody had legitimate questions. I think honestly, again, not know if I didn't know the president and I didn't know any of this and just read that, I would think those are honest, appropriate, great questions for somebody to ask when you're about to hand over $250 million to a foreign country. It's responsible to ask questions if you are unsure. Again, I don't know if the president asked these questions or if somebody else did. But anyway, she learned about mid-July the funds would be held, and there was a meeting. This is what, at the meeting in mid-July, there was talk about the funds being held. Now, here's the interesting part. Once again, she was not at the meeting. When she heard that the funds were going to be held, she learned that through hearsay. Somebody else that she had sent, one of her underlings that she sent to the meeting, came back and reported the funds are going to be held. She had no firsthand knowledge. Hey, Danielle. So then she went to another meeting on July 23rd, and the president's chief of staff said the president had concerns about Ukraine and Ukraine security assistance. Again, I think the whole impeachment is a joke. They won't even let the Republicans call people to testify. Colt, it is a joke. It is a joke. And not only is it a joke, but every American, whether you're Democrat or Republican, should be absolutely incensed by the fact that they're shredding the Constitution right before our eyes. That's what they're doing. Yeah, you think, feel, and assume. That's right, Judy. That's what was going on. Now, I think the president, those were absolutely legitimate concerns of a president. Wondering, he had concerns about Ukraine and Ukraine security assistance. Why is that not legitimate? And that was before the phone call. Okay, that was before the phone call. Then she heard during a meeting of July 26th that both of the funds were going to be on hold and relates to the president's concerns about corruption. Now, she didn't say whether that was the president's concern about Biden's corruption or Ukraine's corruption or corruption in general. Absolutely, again, this president did everything he should have been and responsible with $250 million coming out of taxpayer pockets into a foreign country. He's watching out for our money. Absolutely, Judy. This is not an impeachment they want you to call this Nazi court that it is not, Barbara said. Then she heard, a lot of hearsay in her feelings. So the whole thing that I just read to you tells me, just like you said, and you pointed out here, President Trump was being responsible with our money. He wanted to know, which is very much President Trump. Who else is sharing the burden of this? Are we paying all the money? Are we using all of our equipment? Or is somebody sharing in the burden? Why is the United States having to pay for everything? And again, corruption. Is that corruption in Ukraine? I mean, look what happened. You've got somebody who, let's say it was connected to the Bidens. I think it's a very good question. Why didn't you go ahead and investigate when that prosecutor was told by Biden, you either get rid of the prosecutor or you don't get your $1 billion quid pro quo? Why didn't you continue the investigation? What kind of corruption is still going on in Ukraine? It matters not, does our money go? He was asking, hold the money and draw out the traitors, Medical said. Anyone know when the first phone call with Ukraine was? Trauma Mama said. Trump said, we are not the piggy bank for all of Europe. Exactly, Irish girl. Vindman's testimony was feelings also. Yes, because Joe promised it. That's right, Barbara. All of this so far has been feelings, opinions, hearsay, and not only just hearsay, but double hearsay, triple hearsay, all the way down the line. So none of this that I'm looking at, if I didn't have an agenda to be pro Obama, I would say, my God, the president is being responsible with our money. I like that. That's really good. I see nothing in there, nothing that they said at all, nothing that she said, nothing that this lady here, this Laura Cooper from the Pentagon, she said nothing about even her feelings about this being an ability for Trump to get dirt on his competitor, his challenger. She said none of that. None of that came up. And they know that. And once again, I'm saying to you, it matters not to the Democrats whether this is legitimate, uninteresting, a bombshell, whatever. They don't care. And the other Democrats will vote in line with them. That's what they're hoping. So I could say Pelosi bribed me. That's right, Colt, you could. But you wouldn't get away with it because you're Republican. I pray God sinks their entire ship to the pit of hell with no return and they make fools of themselves, Monique. Well, Monique, they certainly are already making fools of themselves. Yeah, I know, Colt. Nobody hurt themselves. Any Democrat rep or senator running for president should recuse themselves from impeachment hearings. Well, Chicago Pops also, Adam Schiff is a witness. He's a fact witness. He should not even be running this at all. And again, as I say, Nancy Pelosi should not be running it either because she knows what Adam Schiff knows and then some. She's running the whole thing. In court, if you say, I feel, they will say, do you have proof? Irish Girl, all of this based on hearsay wouldn't even go forward in the court. I mean, there are some exceptions to hearsay. These meet none of them that I know of. This is the kangaroo court of the century, Alexa said. Yes, Biden was and is not and never will be the Dems candidate, Barbara said. The impeachment is a political hit job, not the POTUS Ukraine phone call. Exactly. This is not about law, justice, or anything else. This is about going into the 2020 debates with a president that they can say, you are impeached by the House. That's all this is. They're not looking for justice. And there's more behind this. Again, I'm going to talk about this on God's Views today at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Please come see the live show. If you have any problems on Periscope during the live, go over to YouTube and to my channel over there. But there's a lot going on about this. Now, let me take her off the screen before I... but again, I didn't see that this woman had... she wasn't aggressively obnoxious or anything about President Trump. She was not like that. She was giving information, and the information didn't mean anything. It really didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything to be negative to President Trump, really. But she had a lot of information, again, that she didn't know. I just hope their stupidity really shines through tomorrow and their witness testimonies backfire. Well, Monique, they already have. But, the headlines that came out about this Laura Cooper testimony is that she had evidence that they withheld the funds. They didn't, the mainstream media did not tell you what I just now told you. I had to go and read the transcript myself to figure out what she was saying and what she was basing her information on. So it's ridiculous. Okay, President Trump in 1995, Trump saved the Veterans Day event in New York City. You'll never hear this on mainstream media because it's good news about him. But they had $1.21 in their pockets for the Veterans Day event, and no corporate backing. No money even came in, even though the veterans went around, the organizations went around and tried to contact all of these corporations and beg them for money for this Veterans Day event to go on. The president heard about it. He wasn't the president then, of course. Hey, Cindy. The president heard about it. And he stepped in and saved the event by contributing between $325,000 to $375,000. You will never hear that in mainstream media. And in fact, nobody's going to talk about it. Because he contributed, everybody else started contributing. And they went from $1.21 to $2.4 million so that they could have that event. Now, it was a little bit less than what they'd had before, but without him, they wouldn't have had an event. Hey, Lori. They will never share the good things that Trump has done. Nope. Oh, wow. Okay, so my bad. I haven't read the transcript yet. Yeah, Monique, you have to read the transcript. Hi, Susan and Gracie. Hey, Cindy. She's under that blanket back there, too. Hey, Jerry. Good to see you. So, yeah, they're not going to tell you anything at all that the president did that has good things about him, because they want you to think he's a racist, that he hates people, blah blah blah. It's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Okay, let me get somebody else up here. Now, as you know, maybe that you've heard or not, this is Nikki Haley, and she's the former she came out with a new book. Everybody's got a new book. She is claiming that the former Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and former White House Chief of Staff John Kelly often tried to undermine the president. And she said that basically they didn't like what he was doing, and so they would often come to her and say, "Look, we want you to go along with us, and we don't like what he's doing. But we're not trying to get rid of him necessarily. We're just trying to save the country." I mean, isn't that what globalists think? Oh, we have to save the country. That's the lie. What they mean is we've got to change the country. We've got to make it into the country that we want. And this man is in the way. Yeah, I don't trust her either, Jules. I don't either. But she said, we didn't always see eye to eye. Sometimes I called to privately express my disagreement with the policy, but he always took the call and he always listened. And I guess yesterday some people were saying to her, how come you didn't tell the president that all of this was going on? And she said, I did tell the president. I did let him know that this is what they were doing. And you know what? Maybe that's why he got rid of Tillerson eventually, because he found out from her that's what they were doing. And then John Kelly, biggest globalist, and was trying to control the president and have him do things John Kelly's way. And that's why you'll see John Kelly now saying, oh, well, I told you not to get a yes man, because that way you'll get impeached, and talking about Mulvaney. So, well, she's saying she did, Lori. She's saying she told him while she was in office that she let him know that they were doing that. So that's not true. Seb Gorka sort of challenged her on that yesterday and said, why didn't you say anything while you were still there? And she said, excuse me, I did say something to him. That's what she's saying, Jerry. She's claiming that she did. Alexa says, love our POTUS. Yeah. And, I don't like her because of that whole Confederate flag thing. She got all that started in South Carolina. That's why I don't like that. So, but, that's just me. Okay. Now, here's one of the things that I don't know if you've had an opportunity, and maybe you never go there, but let me see if I can bring this up. All right. So anyway, while we're sitting here and we're so busy having all of these fake farce impeachment hearings, things are taking place that nobody's talking about and nobody seems to care about. And when I say nobody, I'm talking about mainstream media and those people who ought to be concerned about what's happening in America. Now, my article today over at SusanKnowles.com, it says, House Democrats hold impeachment inquiry hearings while ignoring Iran's presence at our border. Now, do you know what that means? The swamp is so deep, Chezzy. Yeah. Yeah. Tim said, I don't trust her either. Never have. Nope. I don't either. Jerry doesn't trust her. Steve Bannon played disloyals into White House before he was removed. Placed disloyals. I don't know about that, Aussie Nick. I'm not sure. I know that's maybe what some people say, but anyway. So, do you know what's going on at our border in Mexico? Let me just tell you a little bit. And if you would share this article, that would be great. Iran right now has a proxy called Hezbollah. You know who Hezbollah is, right? Hezbollah is at our border, and they are hiring the drug cartel to do drug smuggling and human trafficking. How many people told you that? How many people in the mainstream media told you that? Nobody. And it's not just in Mexico that this is happening. right now with our northern border, because it's all open and because Trudeau allowed for anybody coming from Mexico to visit there without a visa, people are just like woohoo, they're coming from Mexico, they get, they get their documents and they come right down it from Canada. So our northern border is at risk. Now, the arrests on the northern border for things of this nature jumped from 43% between 2017 and 2018. So in 2017, there were 3,027 arrests coming through the northern border. In 2018, it went up to 4,316. Nobody's even talked to you about anything happening in Mexico. Nobody's talked to you about anything coming through our northern border. It's just amazing. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. But go there at SusanKnowles.com and look at that, read that, and get that out there. Money laundering, human trafficking, and drug smuggling, all being going on right now, being paid for by Iran through their proxy Hezbollah. Isn't that great? Right next to, right where we are at our border, we have Iran doing their work right there, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it, either the southern or the northern border. Build the wall, number 2. Yep, that's because Trudeau lets everyone invade. Yes, that's right, Cindy. Hezbollah is funding cartels. That's right, Trauma Mama. Judy said, wow, Congress is preoccupied with impeachment. They're getting nothing done. That's right. And you know what, Chizzy? The American public isn't getting anything done. We're watching the hearings, and we're as the frogs that we are right now, sitting in that little tepid water as it gets hotter and hotter, we don't even know, because we're sitting there watching the hearings. I don't, and that's exactly what they want you to do. We aren't getting real news from MSM, only impeachment and narrative. That is true, Jerry. Oops, got to charge sometime. Barbara said, yep, you may want to plug that in. So let's see some other news. I'm trying to get in as much as possible. There's just so much that it's hard to get it all in. Okay, so the other day, this was yesterday, this is Alan Dershowitz. He is probably one of the biggest liberal Democrats you could ever want to meet. And he is an attorney. Oh, sad to see that Michael Savage predicts decades of darkness even if Trump wins the second term. Well, Tom, the left, the progressives, they're not going away. It doesn't matter who wins. They're not going away. And if President Trump wins, they're just going to keep going until they get back in power, which is what they want, until they could continue with their agenda. It's going to keep going, and probably going to keep going until God's return. So if you thought it was going to just stop, no, it's not. And what you're going to see if they ever do get back in power is that all of the power that you have right now as a citizen of the United States, you're not going to have. You're absolutely not going to have that. Hate to tell you that, but I read these things and feel I'm living the Twilight Zone. I never see or hear again. Well, Janice, you are in the Twilight Zone. You really are. And that's the way that that's our world. Eddie Chummy has a video about us going to war with Iran. I think it's called Is America an End Time Prophecy? Jonathan said. Wasn't John Kelly in charge of screening and hiring Susan? Yes. For the most part, Monique. He was he's the chief of staff. So everything that went to the president went through him. We need some bleach for the swamp. Judy said, I love Alan, but I'm starting to wonder about his true intentions. Well, you should, I hate to say this, I hate to be this way, but you should never trust Alan Dershowitz. He's a Democrat. He's progressive, okay? But sometimes he comes up with some really good things because even, he is a lawyer. And so sometimes when you are so far off the tracks, as far as the law is concerned, he has to point that out. It bothers even him. He said, comparing them to Russian secret police under the murderous dictator Joseph Stalin for their efforts to impeach President Trump. That's what he's calling House Democrats, that they're just like the Russian secret police under murderous dictator Joseph Stalin. That's how far off the tracks that our Congress is right now. This is how far off the tracks America has gone. We're not a republic. This is not what a republic does. Now, Dershowitz said that every American should be frightened by the Democrats' efforts to create crimes out of nothing. And we saw that under Mueller. We saw that under Rosenstein getting Mueller. We saw Comey creating the Robert Mueller special counsel event. So, yes, things are created and people just go with it. Democrats are now making up crimes. And he said the ACLU should be up in arms, but they're silent. And absolutely, he's correct. They should be championing this and saying, where's your foundation? What are you accusing this person of that has any validity under the law? There is none. And he said CNN won't allow him back on their network. So maybe part of why he's kind of changed his tune a little bit is that the left wing networks think that he's so far over to the right, they won't invite him back on CNN. They're afraid of what he's going to say. They know he's going to call them out for their BS, and so he's not even invited back to CNN. So that's how far that's gone. All right, now let me get some other things in here. This is something that you should know because it explains a lot, I think. Hey, Lola Bells, how are you? Marie, good to see you. Do you know what this is? Does anybody know what this is? Hey, Linda Smith, good morning. Wait, they are hiring. Wait, no one with any integrity wants to be on CNN. Anyway, well, that's true. It's true, Aussie Nick. Does anybody know who this is? Or what this is, I should say? Dim's objective is to take your constitutional rights away or change them. Yeah, that's Moloch, Tom. It's Moloch, Luann. This is Moloch. Right now, it's being prominently displayed in the Colosseum in Rome. Yep, it's Moloch, Aussie Nick. Robin said, looks evil, whatever it is. From now through March 2020, as part of an exhibit celebrating the city of Carthage, a giant statue of Moloch, the god of the ancient Canaanites and Carthaginians, will greet visitors at the entrance to the Roman Colosseum. Yep, it is Moloch. Absolutely. Moloch is the pagan god who required his devotees to toss their children into his fiery belly as an act of worship. Yep, children were sacrificed to Moloch. Absolutely. Lori said, what is Moloch? Moloch was a pagan god of child sacrifice. Yes, Tom, absolutely. Previously, the Catholic Church had made the Colosseum a sacred site to honor those first Christians martyred for their faith, even placing stations of the cross there for the faithful to contemplate their sacrifice. Disgusting and evil baby sacrifice. Holy crap, burned babies there. Has Maxine Waters' mouth. Jules said, oh, wow, Rome, why am I not surprised? Yeah, Tammy said, Lord have mercy. Yeah, and this is going to be there, again, permanently affixed there until March 2020. And I just wanted to, for anybody who, may wonder, I just want you to know that the Catholic Church, I know Maranatha, hey, Daniel, Catholic Church has absolutely nothing to do with what is at the Roman Colosseum. They did not okay Moloch to be there. They're not all for it, or anything else. So I know some people are claiming that it's the Catholic Church and the Vatican has put that there, but that is not true. So I wanted to clarify that for you. So hold on one second. Having little issues there. All right. Every day about this time, I start losing the connection. Periscope says, it's time. Okay. All right. So in any event, if you will, let me get that off the screen there. So that's what's happening to our country. This is an exhibit where in Carthage. No, it's in the Roman Colosseum. So the first child baby was offered up for families to prevent their destruction cursed by Moloch. Yeah. It's disgusting. Anyway, you want to look at it. But anyhow, we are basically running out of time. I've got more. Maybe I can tell you on Thursday. I won't be back on this until Thursday. I might come on to say hi tomorrow. We'll see how things go. But we'll see. Yeah, but you know what, Cindy, this was not, the Vatican had nothing to do with that statue being there in the Roman Colosseum. That's not, you can't put that on the Catholics. Regardless, why did they put him there? It's a celebration, Yuri. No protesters. I don't know. Yeah. So anyway, please retweet this. Please be back for the show, God's views on political news. That is coming up at 10 o'clock. It's in 1 hour, and that's 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. This hour went very fast. I know, Monique, it really did. So please come back for the show on God's views, and we'll see you then. Please retweet this and share the show. Thanks so much, everybody. God bless, and I'll see you in an hour.